Hello, this is Jonathan from Shooting Stuff. Today we're going to look at the equipment that you need to start sport shooting. The first thing you need in order to start IPSC sport shooting is a reliable pistol. You don't need two matching Infinity pistols in order to get going. You might want to get there later once it becomes a serious sport, but in the beginning, this is not for you. Glock is a very popular firearm for personal protection, and it's also a very suitable firearm for sport shooting. There are others that are more specifically designed for certain aspects of the competition, but many people will enter their sport shooting career with a gun that they've purchased to defend themselves, and often one that they're carrying on a daily basis. Something light like a Glock is always going to be a good starting point. Here we've got a Glock 17 Generation 5. We'll always check that it's empty. We're not going to talk too much about the specifics of each of these firearms, but this full-size pistol, it's got 17 rounds in the standard magazine, is well suited to start your sport shooting career in IPSC, IDPA, 3-gun nation, pin shooting, and probably a whole lot more. Just for something a little bit different, the Glock 19X. This one comes with night sights, not really an advantage for sport shooting, but definitely for daily carry. Also takes a 17 round magazine and quite suitable as a starting point. Great reliable pistols with excellent support. The CZ Shadow 2 is a great example of a pistol that was designed for competition shooting. All metal construction makes it quite a heavy gun, possible to carry on a daily basis, but definitely a lot less comfortable than one of the lighter polymer frame pistols. The fiber optic front sight is not quite as durable as you would like on a carry gun, but well suited for competition, as is the fully adjustable rear sight. The trigger pull on this is also really nice, and the ergonomics designed for IPSC production division shooting. Not necessarily the place you're going to start, but definitely a next step up once the sport shooting becomes a little bit more serious for you. All of these carry guns that I've talked about are in 9mm Parabellum, 9x19, 9mm Luger, all the same thing. That is the minimum caliber allowed for most of the action sports. Bigger calibers like 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP, 357 SIG, and in the open division, 38 Super and 38 Super Comp are also permitted, but most people will always start with a 9mm, what's generally referred to as 9mm. To hold your gun, you need a holster. So let's get a couple of holsters out and we'll be right back. Here's a whole pile of holsters that are suitable to start your sport shooting. These competition holsters are locally made. We supply them at Shooting Stuff. We'll talk more about them later. If you're starting your sport shooting career using your carry gun, you're quite likely to have a carry holster such as the Phobos or one of the custom Daniels. Both of them are quite suitable to start with, and let's look a little bit closer at them quickly. What you're looking for in a holster for carry or for sport shooting is it must cover the trigger guard. That is a non-negotiable, and it must securely retain the firearm even if you were to do a backward roll or fall upside down. For both cases, you also want an easy ability to withdraw the firearm from the holster. And you want to be able to reholster it easily without having to open up something manually. A Kydex holster like the Daniels works really well. For sport shooting, you're obviously going to need ammunition. The Firearms Control Act does regulate certain amount of ammunition, limits you to 200 rounds at any one point. Fortunately, that is also a good number to start with for club shoots and small competitions. A reusable ammunition container like this blue one is obviously of benefit. Most factory ammunition comes in a disposable container, although I guess you can reuse something like that a few times. You definitely want to be able to count your ammo out easily. Make sure it just makes figuring out how much you've loaded into your magazine each time a little easier. Talking about magazines, each pistol generally comes with 2 magazines. Some of the competition guns, like the Shadow we looked at, frequently come with 3 magazines. That would be your absolute minimum, and 4 is often considered a much more convenient number of magazines. I base this on having a big stage in IPSC of 32 rounds as a minimum requirement. If you need to fire a couple of extra shots, you can easily approach 40 or 45, and that's your 3 magazines in most cases. So having a 4th really just gives you a bunch of extra options, especially if stages are constructed in a way that require 8 rounds, then 8 rounds, then 8 rounds, and another 8 rounds. Doing a mag change between each of those shooting positions allows you to minimize any wasted time. 3 magazines, 4 magazines, a little bit better. Okay, so you bought your pistol for personal protection. Now you're entering sport shooting, but the protection doesn't stop. Eye protection and hearing protection are really, really important things. Don't skimp money here. Buy the best hearing protection that you can afford up front. Really take that to heart. Do not go cheap on your hearing protection. There are many types on the market. These slimline Peltors work really well for most shooting conditions. Slimline enough to also work with long guns. Here are some Hellberg heavy duty protection when it's really, really loud, ideal for indoor shooting ranges or compensated guns, rifles with muzzle brakes. I'm partial to the Dillon electronic hearing protectors, and the benefit of electronic protection is that you're not inclined to take your earmuffs off to hear what's going on just when the guy next to you starts shooting and you damage your ears. If you can afford it, invest in decent quality electronic hearing protection, and the muff style is by far the best to give you the best protection. Ear plugs protect the channel, but the muffs cover everything, including the bone behind your ears. And the specialists advise that a fair amount of hearing damage is with sound entering behind your ears. As far as eye protection is concerned, as long as it's polycarbonate or better, it's generally going to be good enough. Normal glasses, if you're wearing prescription glasses, can be adequate, but frequently it's quite sunny on the range, so tinted lenses like some of these are frequently a benefit out in the bright sun. For indoor shooting, and inexpensive safety glasses can be really, really a simple way to go. My preference is one of the better brands, and it's really going about the quality of the lenses and the prescription that gets added into these Rudy projects here. So what else do you need? This is really it, but there's a couple of things that will also make your life a whole lot easier. A peaked cap will help keep the sun out of your eyes and stop hot brass falling between your glasses. Yes, it does happen, and it does burn when it sits in the bottom of your cheek. It gets hot out there. Take some water with you. Any decent water bottle. Soft drinks are also okay, but normally plain old water is really what you need to rehydrate after a day in the sun. You're going to need a bag to carry it all, and that can be anything from the proverbial plastic grocery bag, not recommended, to a decent range bag. I'll show you my range bag. It's well used, and we'll have a quick look at what's in there, but what I've described so far is the minimum that we need to start a day at the shooting range. Okay, let's have a quick look at what's in my range bag. My Rudy Projects, my hearing protectors. I have a couple of useful items, some batteries, some tissues, some lip ice. Got my shooting timer, spare earplugs, a spare set of glasses, a couple of plasters and maybe a headache pill or two. Little useful hammer and squib remover. Haven't had to use that on any of my own things yet, thankfully. And a couple of other tools to help me clean my gun. My spare Infinity. And in the handbag section, a whole bunch of magazines, a knee pad, an elbow pad, some patches, some keys, pen and so on, just to help make life easier. Keep it all in one place. A range bag is really useful, but you can start off with something far simpler if you're not carrying around as much junk as I do. I just wanted to show the competition belt, place for 3 magazines, and your pistol. The trigger guard is fully covered, and it can be locked in place or an easy draw option. Okay, thanks for watching this impromptu video. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give us a like by hitting the like button. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so share your thoughts. Let us know what you keep in your range bag in the comments section below. I'd like to always bring you the good stuff, so please subscribe to our channel and stay up to date that way. That's me, Jonathan from Shooting Stuff, giving you more time to shoot.